Day after our official update on the Mr. Christopher uh, Chuck Whiteley case, we're going to be looking at a very important case that has been coming up recently that nobody has been speaking about yet. And that is the mysterious disappearance of none other than Elizabeth Delgado. Now, this is a very interesting case because the way that she vanished in the area that she apparently was said to have disappeared in Utah just has never made any sense and really doesn't add up. And now we have a coin that's been recovered that may, in fact, contain DNA. And so, for the first time, we're going to be really going over and we're going to explore that more in depth about Miss Delgado. You know, and I just want to remind people that we've seen a lot of interesting things out there. There were people, including Prince Philip and Prince Charles, of course, who have very, very unsavory tendencies and decadent ideas. And so when looking at this, we need to keep that in perspective, that the Miss Delgados and whatnot of the world are in a very precarious position until something is immediately done to put a halt to this. So I appreciate, everyone keeping certain people in their prayers, and also looking at these situations much closer. Because what happened to Elizabeth Delgado can happen to nearly anyone today. Thank you once again. More to come. Well, folks, there are several disturbing elements about the Elizabeth Salgado, sometimes nicknamed Elizabeth Delgado case. When Elizabeth Salgado was killed, it was in a very unusual area called Hobble Creek Canyon. Okay? So this is going to have to be split into several parts. There's going to be 3 parts to this official case. But what was strange about the Hobble Creek Canyon official incident was a family known as the Ace family. The same ones who are basically going bankrupt and have all these problems with financial fraud. That's correct. Were known to have visited Hobble Creek Canyon, an odd place called Kelly's Grove as well. And Kelly's Grove, why it's odd is it's not on any of these official maps. Okay? You can't find it on the local official map. So we're going to be discussing that. Because the Ace family also has some very strange ties to, Mexican drugs and possibly the Mexican cartel. So this is none other than Jacob Barlow. That's correct. Jacob Barlow. And I remember getting chills when starting to really look at this because Jacob Barlow went out all the time to this place that's not really on the map as far as getting to it easily. It's not really on the map. Kelly's Grove. That's correct. In Hobble Creek Canyon of Utah. That's 100% right. And he took many, many, many photos of strange cabins and things there, like he was obsessed with this area. And I came to find out that Mr. Barlow is an associate of the Ace family. That's correct. So I don't know what he is in all this, but I'm calling because of all the different pictures he has of a very strange place called Kelly's Grove. I'm calling him a person of interest now. Big time. Because there's too many strange things that have been going on with this. So we're going to be looking at this, and I officially call Jacob Barlow for certain the person of interest in Elizabeth Salgado's murder. So we're going to be looking at this in 2 parts for the first video, 2 parts at least for the second one, and then for the third part, when I go over Jacob Barlow, Joshua, and the Ace family in depth, that's going to be separated into 3 separate sections. But something evil took place here. And I believe 2 people, that's right, 2 suspects are responsible for the sudden murder of Elizabeth Salgado. Not 1, but 2. And none other than members of the Ace family, and specifically Mr. Barlow and one of the Ace family members, they know exactly what happened to Elizabeth. Thank you. So, folks, the Elizabeth Delgado case is a very strange case. It has been ever since Miss Delgado disappeared, apparently next to Spanish Fork, Utah. But there are concrete links between Delgado's case, certain members of the Hernandez family, and also the Salinas Mexican cartel that need to be heavily dissected now, especially. But of course, they've been knocking my phone's power down. But we're going into that case, and we're going to look at exactly what truly happened to Elizabeth Delgado. Thank you. So, folks, this is it. This is what has been discovered. It's very, very suspicious. The Ace family, I would definitely say, at least knew something about Elizabeth Salgado's disappearance. I don't care if they're not a suspect. I know they are a person of interest because they definitely knew something about it. They apparently have this associate, and I didn't know what to make of it at first, but the associate for the Ace family, and also specifically for Jacob Barlow, who was most certainly involved as far as having very good knowledge about this. Their associate is this group that is very strange. It's called the Dye Clan. And you can see them here and say, well, it's just some people. They always go rock climbing, that sort of thing. But no, folks, this means something a lot more than that. And I'm starting to get some very clear insight into this with the Dye Clan, that they are most certainly very possibly a suspect. Now, the Dye Clan is strange because, you don't expect to see rock climbers at a place out in the middle of nowhere, okay? You just don't see that anymore. And this is Kelly's Grove, out literally in the middle of nowhere on the other side of Spanish Fork. And we see the Dye Clan apparently are expert hikers. That's correct. Expert hikers and rock climbers. So not only are a couple of the Dye Clan family members expert rock climbers, they frequently take trips directly to this hole in the wall that nobody can find in Hobble Creek called Kelly's Grove. That's correct. The same exact Kelly's Grove where there's no mistaking it, where Elizabeth Salgado was murdered. And I'm documenting this very carefully, folks, because they're there all the time rock climbing. They do have association with Jones. And most importantly, they are apparently, at least they appear to be on the record here, associates of none other than Terrence Darrell Kelly, indirectly through at least one friend. They're associated with Terrence Darrell Kelly, and they are associated directly with Mr. Barlow, with Jacob Barlow. So the Barlows are definitely not a good group. But what's strange about them is that the Dye Clan has been sighted here only in this area. They are now doing rock climbing inside of Kelly's Grove. You can't make that up. So now there's going to definitely be a heavy investigation of them. They are involved in Salgado's murder somehow. And I won't say exactly how. One of the Dye Clan family members is involved, because I'm not going to open anything up to any kind of suits or anything later, but they are 100% involved. What is odd, folks, is the the Dye family member that's being looked at very closely, goes to Kelly's Grove quite often and climbs those same rocks very often. And, we just don't see that anymore. And another very strange thing about all of this is one of the Dye family members, I won't name who, I'm not going to, is a member of the Craig as well. And they are officially associated with that. So there is a lot of evidence. I would say certainly some very, very hard evidence now that Elizabeth Salgado was stalked by some very dangerous people, unfortunately, who officially do a lot of rock climbing in this area. And so she may have, in fact, been killed by 2 to 3 people altogether. One being the lookout, the other 2 being the actual killers of Elizabeth Salgado. Much more to come. That's all for now. So, folks, once again, speaking about this for a moment, I'm going down Hobble Creek Canyon. Just like I promised to be able to revisit more of this murder scene. And I just want to speak, on record and say that, yes, I do firmly believe that Barlow had something to do with this, 100%, no question. But I can't say, that he himself murdered her or something. Very, very careful in how my words are parsed. But what I will say, folks, is it's very tragic what occurred with Elizabeth Salgado. This is not a well-lit area. You can't see hardly anything. Even the marked or unmarked cars are difficult to read and see where they're actually going. Okay? And we need to get that penny examined. We absolutely need to get that penny examined, because the concerning thing is, folks, Barlow and also one of the Dye family members, of course, have a lot of dating site profiles. And what that means is they're indirectly connected to the catfish incident. There's been a lot of catfishing that have gone on in the West Coast region tied to this supposed catfish killer. Well, that connects it directly to that situation. So I just needed to say that. This is a very sad case, and we need to get that penny fully examined so you can get the DNA off of the penny. Thank you. And there he is, folks. Jacob Barlow himself. Now, I'm not going to scroll all the way down, and I'm going to say very little here, but he was associates with Cosmopolitan magazine, Brian Young, Stahili, and Mr. Thompson as well. And that is very, very disconcerting because, of course, Thompson, Cosmopolitan, etc. are associated with Hernandez, which is in Mexico, as well. So Elizabeth Salgado, bottom line, had a lot of enemies. Some very, very nasty types of enemies. And I won't get into it all here. I'm not going to do that. But I can tell you right now is a fact that Jacob Barlow is likely involved in this. And at this point, I can't speak too much about him, but he has multiple dating site profiles. He knows the Dyes very well. And unfortunately, at this early stage of the investigation, I can't say any kind of other comments on him, because I know he's going to be going into the courts fishing for people. This is not a good person at all. They are likely linked to the Elizabeth Salgado murder. The most important thing, folks, is going to be getting the DNA DNA test results back, which is pending an official, update. Thank you. So I promised there'd be no more on this until the Elizabeth Salgado video part 2 for sure, but this is something else. This is on an Iowa Rivals forum. It won't be revealed right now, but this is Austin Mcbroom's company. Got into a lawsuit match with a James Harden apparently, and it's very strange. The people that were there who watched all this, they liked the video. One of them was this person, alias the Devil, which appears to be KH Bomb Bomb once again involved in this, which I found very just strange. But what's more than that, one of Austin Mcbroom's alleged associated companies, the Sydney Austin Group, declared bankruptcy a while ago. And they've since been trying to delete any kind of social media images, information about Austin Mcbroom's visits to Utah. So this got me thinking with this theory of, you know what? Maybe Austin Mcbroom himself, that's right, is involved in the Elizabeth Salgado murder. That's all, folks. See, and this is why that they've tried so hard to shut my phone down. He's, of course, going to threaten probably many different threats. But I don't care. We will counter sue him. So the point is, Instagram and everything, all the areas where Austin Mcbroom, that's correct, Austin Mcbroom of the Ace family, same one, have visited Utah, have been deleted. All of the social media, everything, TikTok, anything you can come up with about Austin never being in Utah. Except, of course, there is some confirmation that Austin and the Ace family was there in Springville. That's correct. Southern Utah University with the T-Birds and doing some different things for sports podcasting to basically accelerate the rise of the Ace family, etc. And what do you know? That's right directly next to where Barlow is and right directly next to where Elizabeth Salgado died. So here it is, folks. First time exclusive information. Now, this is definitely 100% exclusive in this case. None other than Austin Mcbroom and the Ace family were there in the same area quite a few times where Elizabeth Salgado disappeared and was murdered. Let's get that penny checked up. One last thing that's very disturbing is unidentified female who named themselves, or was for some reason or another named directly after the Kelly Grove of Hobble Canyon, the exact same Kelly Grove, and they talk everything on here on the actual website about the Woodford incident and about satanic temples and all these different things. You know, and I'm not saying that ceremonies and certain issues and things aren't real, folks, but this type of thing is the exact opposite of helpful. And so it was very interesting, and it caught my eye to see that this same person was there. And then, of course, they talk about Potter Kelly for a moment. And that just was fascinating to see that for a moment as well. Barlow seems to be a huge fan of Potter Kelly in Hobble Canyon, believe it or not. So there's definitely something that's been going on for a long time. So once again, folks, the tragic murder of Elizabeth Salgado is truly unbelievable. And we must get justice for that tragedy. And that is what is going to occur now. But I can tell you this, Barlow was involved, and none other than, of course, Austin Mcbroom. They're covering something up. Like, comment, subscribe, more to come.